Guys, we made him a mount.
I keep seeing people with these piano belts and they're really cute, so I decided to make my own, and here's a tutorial. For supplies, you're going to need some scrap fabric, and some of it has to be white, of course, and then a ruler and a pencil to mark out the spaces, fabric glue, and black fabric paint and paintbrushes, and then scissors and a belt buckle. I already had a belt buckle from one of my other belts, so I just used that. So I started by tracing out the length and width of the belt on the white fabric by using a pencil and a ruler, and I also used another belt to measure the length of it. Then I cut that long strip of fabric out, and I made sure that the width was okay for the belt buckle that I had. Next, I measured out spaces every ½ inch to make sure that all of the piano keys were equal. Then I got my black fabric paint and a small paintbrush, and I did the piano tiles design all the way down, and I started by looking at a reference image of piano tiles, but it was honestly pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Then once the paint dried, I took the long strip of fabric and I glued it onto a second piece of white fabric, like the same piece, just to get a second layer on there. And I glued around the edges and then on some of the piano tiles, but I honestly wish I added a bit more glue on the top layer. And then I cut the edges off so it was like a belt shape again. And then I did this same thing where I took the piece of fabric and I glued it onto another piece of fabric, but I used denim this time, and I ended up adding 2 more layers of denim to the back just to make the belt a bit thicker and more sturdy. So each time I would put fabric glue all around the edges and then a few dots in the middle, and then I would just glue it on and make sure it dried and then cut the rectangle out again. And for this little loop that goes next to the belt buckle and holds the end of the belt down, I used a few layers of white fabric and just fabric glued them together. And I'll show how I poked the hole, but I added the belt buckle, folded the belt over, and then super glued everything in place, like the loop and everything. And then I just clamped it down and left it overnight to dry so that it would be sturdy. Once it dried, it was really sturdy, and I also decided to paint that loop so that it would match the rest of the keys. And for the holes at the end of the belt, first I used another belt that I like the size of to measure the holes and put them in the right spot. And then I used an X-Acto knife to make the rough shape of the holes, and I used scissors to kind of clean up the edges and make the holes a bit bigger. And I used the same technique a little bit earlier when I was poking the hole to put the belt buckle in. So that's the holes at the end. They're kind of rough looking, but they do their job fine. And then here I just applied some fabric glue around the edges with my fingers to make the edges a bit more crisp. And this is the finished belt after all the glue dried. It seems pretty sturdy for now, but if it starts to fall apart, I'll just sew around the edges.
Can we bring back bartering art trades? Because my hair looks so fucking good, and I paid for it with art. And I also traded with a nail artist before, and my nails were so fucking cute. I've never had my nails done. Never. Because it's just not in my budget. Traded for it. Traded. I just love, especially when I'm done with like an art market at the end when the artists all want to trade. That is so fucking fun. I love when people are making cool shit and just, want to have other people's art and just want to trade for other cool shit. Can we bring it back more, please, ASAP?
strawberry phone, pickle phone, and banana phone. I did it. You know the process. I found an old phone at the thrift store. This one was $5. It's lightweight, and you're not going to believe this. It still had a number with like old lady numbers. Octavia, Harriet, Peaches even. I had to obviously save that. I wasn't going to spray paint over that. And you're not going to believe this. I sanded first. I did it. I sanded first with a real sander, and then I spray painted. Now, it made my life easier, but the thing is, I only could find yellow glossy paint. I couldn't find yellow matte paint. So when I went to go paint over the yellow, I kind of still had my same problem. But I'll tell you what, it actually worked out okay, because I wanted the color, especially the green at the top, to be more of a faded kind of gradient. And let me let you in on a little tip here. If you want to get into art, but you're not a very good painter, me, all you have to do is paint things that are food, or make things that are food, because organic materials are imperfect. So when you inevitably make something that's imperfect, you're actually still a really good artist. How about that? So anyways, I was using the normal contours of the phone. A sentence nobody said. I've been using the normal contours of the phone to make my banana shape. So I'm kind of following the line at the bottom, the curve at the side, and then I kind of made this one up the middle because I felt like it needed it. Of course, I'm adding brown spots. Now, a brown spotted banana is absolutely putrid, disgusting, vile. I would never eat one. But you had to do it for the phone, because otherwise, I do think it would be kind of hard to tell what the heck I was making. Then I added sort of irregular shaped dots, which once I did that, then we had a banana phone. As promised, I saved Peach's number. By the way, nobody be weird and like try to call those numbers or something. Leave Peaches alone. And then I hung it up on my wall, which is newly purple, by the way, and looks so good with a yellow banana phone on it. I'm obsessed. I love it. I hope you do too.
What's up, guys? I'm going to be showing you how I made this whimsy tree topper moon, and it was really simple to make. I started off with a large piece of cardboard and then kind of drew the face I wanted on my moon, and as you can see, my cat was here helping me out and tasting the paintbrushes as she always does. I went in with acrylic and then just added kind of like details and blush and a lot of shading and things that I felt like would give the moon a bit of texture and definition. Then I just went in, waited for it to dry, and cut it out. Next was hanging it, and my husband helped me out, and so did my cat. She was very fearless climbing up that ladder, and yeah, I just hung it up, added some little stars to it, and I absolutely love the way it came out.
He says, son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure.
Let me show you how to make this felt envelope device sleeve. You can make this for any size device you'd like. I'm also planning to sell a couple of these, so if you're interested, be on the lookout for that. The materials you need for this are felt, embroidery thread, and a button. To start, I'm going to cut the width of the felt 1/2 inch larger than my tablet on each side. To measure the height, you want to place your device in the middle and fold over the felt until it's fully covered. Then you want to mark where the top of your device is and where that fold is at. Cut about 5 inches above that mark. If your device is way smaller, you may want to adjust this and cut less. Now that you have the right size rectangle, I take the piece and fold it in half to find the center. I'm then going to cut diagonally at about a 45-degree angle, starting at that mark we made earlier. Before moving on, I suggest you check to see that everything is the right size. The next thing I'm going to do is round off the top of the triangle. If you want the sleeve to be a little bit sturdier, you want to cut out another piece of felt. If you do this, just lay them on top of each other and treat them as one piece. Next, you want to fold the bottom up to that mark that we made and fold the top down. So now we're looking at the back side of the envelope. Using temporary ink, mark 3 lines in the middle of the envelope and 3 lines in the top left corner. If you're also using 2 pieces of felt, we're just going to embroider on one of them. For these lines, I'm using 3 strands of embroidery thread and a straight stitch. Here's what those lines look like when they're all done. If you're using 2 pieces of felt like I am, turn your work over so you're looking at the back side and place your other piece of felt on top. And since I am using 2 pieces of felt, I want to pin them together so they don't slide around. With that pinned, I'm going to take the bottom and fold it back up to that mark we made. Then I'm going to pin the sides of this closed. Do the same thing for the other side. You'll then want to blanket stitch all around these outer pinned edges. I'm using all 6 strands of embroidery thread to do this and starting at the bottom right corner. Once you get to this point, you're going to keep going up the triangle angle and back down the other side. I'm gonna check again to make sure my iPad fits. Since it does, I'm gonna blanket stitch along this last pinned edge. Next, I'm gonna place the button where I want it, sew it on, and cut the hole for it. I wanted mine to look a little bit more like an envelope, so I added some straight stitch lines on the front. Now the base of your envelope is done, and you can decorate it however you'd like. There's a tutorial for these stamps already posted on my page. If you make this, I'd love to see it.
Extremely original birthday gift idea for your friend who likes Drag Race.
I went to my favorite secondhand art supply store, so here's the haul. Mom has to do a haul. What about Mom's haul? Oh, there he goes. It feels very necessary to sit like this, so we're sitting like this while we do this haul. I just love that they have the pay what you can system, because in theory, this whole bag would have only cost $3.55. They give you the option to pay more, and I always do, but still, you could have gotten all of this for $3. Let's go through it. A lot of this stuff I'm thinking in terms of Christmas, and specifically like Christmas wrapping, because I love to spend forever wrapping gifts. I just love to do it. So we have a few different types of ribbon stuff. This was just like a random little booklet somebody made. I love to keep these on my coffee table. As you can see, I just have a bunch of random like little zines and little art things. So talk tarot to me, absolutely. And it just goes through and has different little tarot cards. Love. These are all, I think, just different sheets of paper. These cardstock papers I'm going to make little gift tags with. There you go. And it's also great because you can choose the quantity that you want. Whereas if I was at like Michael's, I would have to get the whole pack. It would be like $20 and I wouldn't even need 90% of it. I also got this. I'm like, I could either wrap a small gift with that, so cute, or make tags. I don't know. This was also just like a cute print. I might hang that on my wall and frame it. I don't really know. Do you? Whoa! More little papers, little green and red stars, little stripes. I will be wrapping some gifts, some little mistletoes. This like National Geographic old, has like a bunch of different animal facts. Can I quiz you on ocean facts? A map? You know what this means? Somebody's gonna get a cool wrapped gift. Their card section is top tier. So I got a few different little holiday cards. You can't beat it. One thing I'm very excited about, I'm gonna do one of those match print things because I got so many vintage matches and they're from the coolest places ever, like all over the world. One of them was from Amsterdam, I think. A stamp. I also love if you have like plain wrapping paper, you can stamp it. And that's what I'll be doing. I did that last year and it was super cute. So this says, a gift for you, Merry Christmas. This, I think a little vase or something. Oh my God, a matchbook fell inside there. That is just gonna be cute on my shelf. I got some screws. They really have everything you could ever need. And this is like a fun little book, but you can like craft put whatever you want. It's empty on the inside. This is a craft dream. The world is my oyster. Okay, team. That is my Indigo Hippo secondhand art store haul. Oh my God, except there's 2 more matchbooks. Wait, is that the one? That's the one that's in Amsterdam. Wow, that's a sign. I don't know what the sign would, maybe it means I need to go there, but ding.
Weird gifts for weird people that you can make at home for little to no cost. Got my handy dandy notebook, and here we go. First off, most of these example photos are from Pinterest, and no one gives anyone any credit on there except for a few that I found. So if you know who these artists are, please tell me and I will credit them. You can customize clothing for them. This example is a pair of jeans, I believe, and a hat. You can just get the buttons off of any extra buttons that come with pants or button-down shirts, and then in terms of hats like that, you can find those at Goodwill or other secondhand shops, and same goes with the jeans, and then you just use embroidery thread for the details. You can make things out of bottle caps. For instance, pins are a big thing you can make out of bottle caps, and also another example is this interesting bike thing. Stamps. Lino cut stamps. You can make those are awesome. Or, if you don't have the access to the linoleum, erasers. You can make them a pocket shrine for whatever religion they are a part of, or it can be a pocket shrine of like things they enjoy, people that are important to them. This one was made by Astro Milk with 2 eyes on TikTok. You can make things with buttons. For example, earlier the hat that I showed, or also these earrings. A lucky fish that you can get the pattern for at andwoodhandmade.com. A custom chessboard. You can make them out of air dry clay. This one's made of ceramic, but you can make them out of air dry clay and then either make the board wood or also out of clay. Design them some patches so they can add it to whatever they want, or you can add it to the clothes you customized. Soda tab friends. I love these. This one was made by Bugs on Pinterest. Once again, if you know any of the people who made these, please tell me so I can credit them. Pinterest has such a problem with not crediting people. Stop stealing people's work.
This is 10 homemade gifts that don't suck, non-crafty edition. So if you say you're not artistic, this is for you, although everyone is artistic. It's a spectrum, just gotta figure out where you land on that spectrum. I happen to land on the end of almost crippled with artism, and you don't want that life. We're all creative, whatever. Topping the list, mixed CDs. This is a lost art, can we please bring it back? You just need a CD writer, some blank CDs, and some cases. Decorate it all cute and gift it with a Walkman. Alternatively, if you're super cool and vintage, do mixed tapes. Number 2, hear me out, picture frames. Thrift some. Either just put photos in them and give them as they are if they're cute, or paint them just plain, or maybe a stripe if you're feeling artsy, maybe a leaf, or take the backs off, put hooks in the top, and it's a jewelry display. Third, herbal tea blends in a jar. You don't have to be a master herbalist, just Google some blends, go to your local health food store, or get some herbs bulk online from like Mountain Rose Herbs, put a cute little sticker on it, give it with a mug that you thrifted. Number 4 is verging on crafty, but you can do it. Dye old tea towels. Either use your old stained flour sack towels or get some new ones. They're pretty cheap. And then either dye them with like natural food dyes, or maybe get some indigo dye or some dye powder. It's very easy. You can do patterns or you don't have to. 5 is so easy. My toddler did it last year. Make rolled beeswax candles. You just need the sheets of wax and some wick. You could maybe thrift some candlesticks to go along with them, or if you're feeling cool, air dry clay some candlesticks. Entering into consumables. These are your friend if you think you're not crafty. Number 6, infused oils. Grab some cute little bottles, olive oil, herbs, citrus, garlic, peppers, spices. They look great and they taste good. I would love to receive that. Similarly, number 7, tinctures. Basically the same idea, just herbs and alcohol in a jar. Leave it to sit till Christmas and then it'll be ready to strain and bottle. Put a cute little label on it, gorgeous. Look up a tutorial online if you want the extra specifics, but it's very easy. Number 8, bath bombs, bath salts, bath oils. They use really similar ingredients, very easy. You don't even need a fancy mold for the bath bombs. You can just use a cup measure. Number 9 is the ultimate classic, but I'm sorry, it works. Recipe things in a jar, cookies in a jar, bean soup in a jar, potpourri in a jar, simmer pots in a jar. We love them. Consumables are a great gift, and just putting them in a jar makes it look cute and like you tried. And you did try. And 10, speaking of jars, did you know you can make a candle in a jar with oil and a wick? You can. Put different things in them to make them look cute and smell nice. I have one a friend made me last year and I still use it. So there you go, 10 not sucky Christmas gifts you can make even if you're not cripplingly artistic and don't have very much time.
Welcome to day 9 of 31 days of Halloween crafts. Today we're making moths out of autumn leaves. You'll need dried leaves, I recommend drying them flat under a heavy book, dried bunny tails, a craft knife, hot glue, and acrylic paint. First dissect your leaf into wing shapes. I recommend doing this first in case your leaf tears. You can just get a new one and you haven't put any work into it yet. Next, paint some designs on it. I find that a minimal design looks best as you want to take advantage of the natural beauty of the leaves. Next, prepare your moth body by cutting down the stem to an antenna size and gluing on another piece for the second antenna. Glue on the wings. Be careful not to burn yourself or damage the leaves. If you want a fluffier look to your moth, glue a section of bunny tail at the head so it overlaps the wings a bit. Optionally, glue in some curls of paper-wrapped wire for your legs so your moths can perch with ease. This craft has infinite possibilities. Get inspired by the fallen leaves you find outside.
A few years ago, my friend Dominic and I left on a really long trip together, and her friend Eva made her this gift that I think about all the time. Like, it was so beautiful that even if it was not my gift, I think about it on a regular basis. If you're new here, this is part 8 in a series where I'm sharing some of the most memorable handmade or experiential gifts that I've given or received, or in this case, just remembered. Okay, so this gift came in a tiny little box, and it had very clear instructions that said, do not open until you are away. And Dominic listened to the instructions, and probably a week into our trip, she just couldn't resist anymore, so she opened the box. And then inside the box, she found 10 envelopes. And each envelope had a different emotion listed on it. So there was anger, there was excitement, there was fear, there was pride, there was loneliness, like just all these emotions that you're almost guaranteed to have on a long trip. And the idea was that Eva knew that they were probably going to have shitty Wi-Fi connection and a time difference, and it was just going to be hard to stay in contact throughout the trip. But she wanted her to feel like she was supported by her best friend throughout all the highs and the lows of this adventure. So she had pre-written little pep talks for all the experiences that Dominic could go through on this trip. And when Dominic was feeling low, she could read a message from her best friend that was perfectly catered to that emotion, because Eva, being her best friend, knows better than anyone how to calm her down. She was proud she could read a message that had been written by Eva about how proud she was of her always and how she was sure that she'd accomplished something great. And it was just so thoughtful.
Sit with me while I show you the gift basket that my lovely Mormon neighbor gave me and my partner after we helped her find her cat, Mama Kitty. This little care package was left at my door a couple days ago, the day after we helped her find her cat. Adorable. First, there were 2 strawberries and cream Dr. Peppers, 0 sugar, and I assume 0 caffeine, because as you know, if you are in the LDS church or have friends in there, they are not allowed caffeine. So I assume that's what's up with the interesting drink. And then she gave me this little tin, and it says, can you please come over and make my TV and Wi-Fi work on my phone? I helped her figure that out because she's a little older and not super tech savvy. But when I tell you, I thought that there was going to be a bunch of candy in here. There kind of was. A Ziploc bag. Nerds gummy clusters. There are 4 of these little Andes mints that I really like, so that's very sweet. There's this little guy, which is kind of like the pattern of my shoes. And then I let her borrow my pen because she was really stressed out when she couldn't find her cat. She gives me not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 weed stickers. And then she also gave me a small aloe plant, which I assume is why she gave me this almost aloe-looking one. And that is sitting outside my door. So, thank you to my lovely neighbor. That is so kind and so cute and so sweet of you. And I wanted you guys to share in the joy as well.